Hey everybody, Robert here from Black Belt Gaming. I hope you're doing well. I'm finally jumping into my first play of Skyrim, the adventure game, the board game. This is Campaign 1, The Blades. It says here that when you're playing with one player, you're going to need to remove from the deck cards 180, 181, and 182. And there's something about putting a token at solitude, and I'm not really sure why. But I'll go ahead and do that now. I have shuffled the cards 216 to 226 and put them face down to the side. This is some kind of blades deck, and cards may be removed, and I think that will affect these cards coming into play later on. So I guess you don't want to lose cards from this deck. So I believe this is kind of the setup here. A group of blades, and I think I'm one of them, escapes the Great War in Cyrodiil, hoping to find safe haven in Skyrim. Once they are there, they try to build a normal life, but conflict follows them. We're supposed to shuffle the Chapter 1 event cards and place them in the event card deck space, and we've done that. Markoth Stronghold is under the control of a king, Madanak, and the Reachmen. And so this place is not accessible. We can't go to it, and it won't take any threat tokens during this chapter or the next one. So this is the place. I'm just going to put a threat token on there, just indicating that that is not available. I think I'll do the same thing up here and just sort of put a threat token in the wrong place, indicating that I can't go there. So now we shuffle 160 to 163, and I think we deal one to ourselves, to myself. Now, despite my very much wanting to play a Wood Elf Stealth Archer, I've decided to go something straight out of the box since it's my very first play. And as I go along, I'm going to be thinking about maybe some homebrew way I can put together a Wood Elf Archer. But let's see how the game works first. So I'll be playing an Imperial character. I can lose a point of health to possibly draw an extra treasure card when it's time to draw one, I guess. I might be a little bit better at the block skill when I have a shield equipped. And I also might have some skill with restoration, maybe a healing +1 if I decide to use that kind of magic. So I do have the miniature expansion pack, so I did pull out kind of a sword and shield wielding character, much like the art on the card. This is the character board. We have health, stamina, and magicka. We've got it blocked off. I think that's my maximum limit for right now. And let's see, this is the death blow or final stand. Something about if this gets down to here, even if I would have gone into the negative, I think I'm still standing and I have like one more round to make a decision whether I want to continue the fight or try to flee or something. But that's what that's about. We've got two ingredients here. These are different herbs or different components you can use to fuel your healing potions or perhaps some other potions should you get them. Maybe making food, different things that it could help you with. You start with fists and ragged robes. And the card I drew is called Captured. So also looking at this, I'm not exactly sure of the perfect order to do this in, but I think this kind of helps set up the game for my character. It says the year is 175 of the 4th era. The Great War rages across Tamriel. A group of young blades recruits, that's me, I think, goes on their first mission to patrol around the forests of Cyrodiil. A Thalmor ambush, these are the enemies, catches them off guard, and they barely escape alive. Upon returning to their camp, they find it desolated. The Thalmor have been here. Cyrodiil is not safe. They escape to Skyrim, far from the Thalmor clutches. They hear that the Reachmen have conquered Markarth, and the tensions are rising between them and the Nords. And there are no special rules for this chapter. If the main quest card gets full of threat, you lose. So let's go to captured here. So my character, I wake up with a terrible headache. My hands and feet are bound to a chair. What happened? A man, my captor, sleeps on a straw mattress nearby. I easily break my bindings and face the sleeping guard. I dispatch him and explore the room. My captor's house is in a state of decay. Half of the roof has collapsed a long time ago, and chicken freely roam around. Inside a satchel, I find a mysterious note. I just flip this card over. Dear Nearith, I hear you're good at finding people. This letter contains a list of names of people I need you to find and capture. I'll make it worth your while. Moiva Karnai. On the back of the letter, I find a list of the names of the blades, and my name is on there. My character is going to start in Riften, and Riften is right over here. So my character starts in the stronghold. I think this is a stronghold of Riften. Option 1 or option 2, I can ask around the inn with septims, which is the coin, at the ready in case bribes are needed. I actually don't think I have any coins. And I get to choose 2 equipment cards, or I'll seek assistance from an information broker to find Moiva Karnai, and again, choose 2 equipment cards, and I just take a different story card next. For my equipment cards, just kind of going standard shield and sword. So I believe this will replace the fists for now. I'm going to put those off to the side. We'll put the shield here and our sword over here. We've still got our ragged robes and our potion of healing. So we're not wearing heavy armor, but the shield does grant us 1 point of heavy armor protection. We are actually wearing light armor, according to this icon. That's our ragged robe. So we actually have 1 point of protection for both the light and the heavy type. I guess I will try to ask around the inn, and I'll go to 164. So this is called the Rebel. My old blade friend Iari, the haggler, works as a sword for hire and spends her time at the inn in Dawnstar. That's way up to the north. I think this is recommended for characters that are considered level 1. If we look on my character card, I'm basically 0. Or am I even less than that? I think I'm basically level 0 here. So maybe I'm not strong enough to really go for this, but I could start heading in that direction. And I need to stop here. So I haven't even looked at this down here. So this is considered my main quest, and I need to put a marker up there at Dawnstar. It says that by the end of the first turn, you should have a character card, 2 equipment cards, a health potion, 2 ingredients, 1 main quest card. So that's what this is, I believe. And this is the one that we can't afford to get 4 threat on. or we're going to, I guess, lose the game. And 209, we've already read 209. That was kind of the setup for this chapter. So Riften is down here, and I'm trying to go to Dawnstar. I'm going to use this red marker. That is all the way up there, far away. So I think we're ready to really begin the first round of play. I hope I've done this correctly so far. At the start of your turn, we're going to draw an event card. We're going to mark ourselves with this as the first player, because when you're playing solo, you're not going to be drawing an event card each turn. So I'm going to need to move that first player marker off to the side and basically draw an event every other turn when you're playing solo. So right now we do draw an event card, and we get Treasure Hunter. This is a world quest, so it's going to go over here to the left. Riches beyond your belief are hidden in ancient chambers. Can you get them without waking the undead menace? So I believe we already start with 2 threat going on the board. This card can handle 2 threat. Well, it can handle 1 threat. If it reaches 2, it's going to be failed. And our main quest can handle 4. So why don't we split this up and put maybe 1 threat token on the treasure hunter and 1 threat token on the rebel card, our main quest. And it says we need to put a marker on, and I forgot what this is specifically called. Is that a tomb? On a tomb in the Pale. The Pale is right around here, so probably it's going to be right there. So we'll put a marker there on the Pale. Just one of these general markers, letting us know there's something of interest there. I still don't know why there's a marker up there on Solitude, but it did tell me to put one there. 2 threat. So just off the camera, I'm going to be putting one on the World Quest card we just looked at. And then I'll put one on our main quest right here. We don't want to get that one filled up, but that's where we will put it for now. Other threat tokens can be placed on strongholds, which are up there in the upper right. And once you put one on a stronghold, it starts to become unstable and you can't access the markets. If you put another one on there, the city's closed. And if you put 3 on there, it's so bad that they start to riot and start generating more threat that you have to keep putting out every turn. So you don't want those to stack up. So you just don't want these threat tokens anywhere, really. So looking at the turn sequence, we've done the event card, and we're now, it says to add 1 threat for any stronghold that is rioting. And it's now time to move, and we can move up to 4 spaces. So we need to get up this way. We've got a couple of objectives up to the northwest. So 4 spaces. Let's see what we want to do. 1, 2, 3, 4. We could go to this cave. Exploring dungeons, I believe, is a good way to get experience and maybe some treasure. The difficulty of these is listed, I think, in descending order. So caves are the easiest, with mines being next, tombs, ruins, and then finally the Dwemer city dungeon. Those are going to be the most difficult. So we'll try to avoid those for now. But we do need to get ourselves leveled up, I think, in order to tackle this Dawnstar main quest. So we're going to move 1, 2, 3, and 4. And now we are on a cave space. All right, we're on the cave space, and it says, well, if we had a horse, we could move an additional space. We can also take a carriage if we're in a stronghold. But each player takes one of their actions, and it is not there. Here are the actions listed. We can complete a quest, explore a dungeon. Why don't we explore a dungeon? Let's explore these caves. So, Dungeon Challenge, Chapter 1, Campaign 1. When we enter a cave, we're going to be facing off against two of these kind of creatures. I think they're just animals. So I'm going to draw two cards, and they're going to be level 0 because I'm basically level 0. And we'll put them face down and turn the first one over and see what we're facing. All right, we basically shuffled these. I think there were 3 at level 0. I'm going to take 2 of them, and we're going to put these down. And I don't think I flip them both over yet, but we're ready to encounter the first one. And it's a skeever. So we're basically facing off against a big rat. And it has 3 points of light armor. Basically, the armor and the HP or the health are going to be the same. And it has the following attack form. We can possibly sneak up on it. So why don't we try this? Looking at our character, we have sneak 1 with our ragged robes. So we do get a little bonus here to our sneak attempt. All right, the dice tower is on the table. You always get to roll 3 dice from what I understand. And we'll be adding an extra die for those ragged robes. Now, I did talk about the shield earlier. The shield does give me a point of armor, heavier armor, but it doesn't count as wearing heavy armor, so I can still sneak. So that will be good. The advantage of this is if I can successfully sneak up on this skeever, I can get the initiative. I can get the first attack. And we got 1 success, and fortunately, that is all we needed. So we've got success in being quiet and sneaking up on this thing. So now we get to make an attack. And let's look at our sword here. If we attack with a slash, we can do 2 damage of heavy, or basically heavy attack damage, and his armor cannot absorb that. That might be the best thing to do. If we did the light attack, basically his armor would soak that, but he would still lose 1 anyway. You're always going to do a minimum of 1 point of damage. It's just that this chance of success is very high with a basic swing. And I think it's a little harder here with the slash, but I think that's what we're going to do. So you can see the character board. As we go with a slash, we're going to reduce our stamina by 1 step. And that's just the fatigue cost of making this attack. And we're only rolling 3 dice, and we need one of these triangles. So we got one. We got one right there. So we have successfully done a sneak attack worth 2 damage to the skeever. The skeever's health will be indicated by this yellow cube. We did 2 damage to it, and we took it down to a health of 1. And now we're continuing the fight. So we go into basically the next round. And I'm going to take you to the rule book because that's what I want to look at and get the breakdown, because I heard read somewhere that there may be something slightly out of sequence here on the combat card. So we might be better off going with the rule book. Let's take a look. All right, I think this may be the better choice to follow. It says if we want to use any potions or switch around equipment as we start the new round, we can. It just it might cost a point of fatigue or stamina to do so. Point number 2, we're going to roll the enemy die, but we don't resolve it yet. Let's give it a roll and see what the result is. Nice, we missed the tower completely. We've got crossed swords, so we're going to put that right on the skeever. That's going to be one of his attacks, so basically he will bite us. Going to step 3, roll the enemy die, but we don't resolve it yet. We get to choose how we're going to respond to this. Since he is biting us, and we know he's going to hit us, why don't we attempt a defensive action? We've got a shield, right? Or do I even need to worry about this? How much damage does he do? He does 1 heavy damage. Well, I guess I don't really even need to try to block this, do I? Remember, we were talking about that minimum damage of 1. Even if I block it with my shield, basically 1 to 1, it didn't go through. I soaked the attack, but I still take a point of stamina, just withstanding the blow. And if I wanted to defend, to even attempt to defend, I would still need to spend that point of stamina. So I'm going to be losing a point of stamina whether I just, kind of passively block it or whether I actively try to block it. So I'm just going to let it stay there. And I think I'm going to go on the attack instead. So we're going to go back there and change our action to the red, which is an offensive action. So the first thing we do is we resolve the enemy action. And that is 1 point of heavy attack. We block that or absorb that with our shield, but we do take a point of stamina for, raising up our shield and taking the blow. We paid, now we're going to pay our cost to take our action, our offensive action, because we're fighting back. So we're going to pay another point of stamina and make our attack. And he's only got 1 point left. So why don't we go with the basic swing this time? It's an easier one because he's only got 1 point left. 3 dice and 2 successes. We hit him for 1 light damage, even though he would basically be absorbing that. You always do a minimum of 1. And that kills the skeever. So we've defeated our first enemy in Skyrim the Adventure Board Game. We receive 1 point of experience. We're going to put that in the experience box here. Once we collect enough tokens, I think it's maybe 7, we are allowed to basically level up. We don't become level 7, but we basically become level 1. And we get to select a skill, which will go in this slot. So that'll be exciting. Let's continue. So we're not through this yet. There is a second monster we need to handle. But let's refer to this again. Combat round. I believe at the end of the combat, I believe you refresh your statistics, but not your health. So I believe as we catch our breath, this goes back to full. But our health, if we had taken any damage, would not recover. But magicka and stamina will. So we're at full stamina. Next monster is a mud crab. That's okay. It's a mud crab. We have a chance again to possibly sneak up on this thing. We need a success of 1. We get to roll 4 dice because of our light armor, our ragged robes. And we've got 2 successes. So we get the initiative and we are allowed our first attack. The mud crab is heavily armored with 2 points. Let's see what we can do here. Looking at our iron sword, we're going to need to pay the cost. So we'll pay 1 stamina. And I would say, if we hit this guy for 2 heavy damage, he's basically going to absorb 2 heavy damage and still take 1 point. If we hit him with the light attack, that type of attack will go through, from what I understand, and he'll basically lose 1 point. So we can choose either one of these. We're going to get the same results from what I can tell. Why don't we go with the swing? It's just easier to achieve. So we've paid our stamina cost for our attack. We're going to go 3 dice. And we've got success. So we did 1 point of light damage, which is different from his heavy armor. So he's down 1 point, and now we go into the regular combat round. The first thing we do is we roll the die for the enemy. Let's see what this crab is going to do. He actually gets a failure. So we're going to go with an offensive action, no defense needed. And I think we're going to follow up with a second swing. So we move our stamina down 1 more, and we give it another roll. And we've got our successes again, doing a final point. And hit him in the soft spot. And the mud crab is defeated, and we gain a 2nd point of experience. So there we have it. No treasure, but just some experience. So good enough, I guess. I think I nearly missed something here. This might be good. When the last enemy is defeated, the dungeon is completed. The player who dealt the killing blow gains, on top of the rewards from the card, a treasure card. This card is determined by the level of the most powerful enemy in the dungeon. Enemy level is shown on the top left corner of the dungeon card. Enemy levels go from 0 to 7. If the highest level enemy was level 3 or lower, you gain a basic treasure card. If the highest enemy level was level 4 or higher, you gain an A. So A is better, I guess. So once distributed, so we do get to draw a treasure card. Once the rewards are distributed, the defeated dungeon cards are placed on each of the dungeon deck's discard piles. However, as the player levels up, they remove low-level enemies from the game. On the character board above the health track, there are a series of numbers which represent level dungeon cards, which will be removed. So when a player's health, stamina, or magicka has reached this threshold marked by whatever on the character board, enemies of that level or lower are removed from the game when defeated in combat as that player was involved. So for example, when a player's maximum health is 7, or higher, they will remove enemies of level 1 or lower from the game. So let's look at this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So if your maximum was over here, you would remove enemies level 1 or lower. So you are removing them at your level as well, not just lower. Well, I did a little researching here. And when I saw the designer of the game playing with some other people, they didn't remove cards that were their level. So when the level 0 characters battled, I think they had the same fight I did, the Mud Crab and Skeever. They put all of those cards, shuffled them, and put them back in. I think they did shuffle in the third card, which was the bear, and shuffled them up and put them back in. So I'm still a little confused about how to do this. It's sounding like, from just checking around, that the way people are playing this is if you are level 1, then you might start tossing out the zeros. But according to the rule book, and this conflicts with the designer, I feel like if you went by the rule book, if you are level 0, you would start tossing out the level 0s because you're level or lower. But it seems to be the common interpretation to discard creatures that are of a lower level. So if any of you are watching, could you clarify that for me? I'm really not sure which way to go here. For now, I'm just going to do what the designer did and just sort of shuffle these together and put them back on top of the dungeon deck, and maybe I'll start thinning them out when I reach level 1. All right, so I am supposed to draw something from this basic treasure deck, and as an Imperial, I might be able to draw an extra card if I take away a point of health, but since it's the end of the dungeon, I'll heal that. So I'm going to go ahead and spend a point of health here and draw 2 treasure cards. And I can only do that once, so I can't keep losing health and drawing more cards. And then I have to choose from these which one to take. There is a ring, which is valuable at 8 gold, or there's an amulet where I will gain a dice for speech. I guess I'll keep the item for speech. And does this get shuffled back in? Maybe so. I'm not sure. I'll just put it on the bottom for now. All right, so we'll recover our stamina and health, and I think that will end our turn. So I'll need to move this first marker token. I'll just put it on top of the event deck to indicate that I'm not going to draw one of those this turn. And that will be the end of turn 1. Let me know if you spotted any mistakes. I'm still a little confused how the thinning or leveling up of the dungeon decks work. I've read it several times in the rule book, and for some reason, the way it is worded, it just doesn't make sense to me. So let me know what you think. If you got any advice on that, I would appreciate it. Thanks for watching, everybody. I will catch you later.